Hey everybody, welcome to On Grade. This is episode 20. I am your co-host Brandon Wineline, and I got my co-host Devin Boudreau in the studio. What's going on, dude?
Another day, another dollar. You?
It's hotter than Hades out right now.
Well, it's pretty good in here, but
Yeah, it feels good in the house. Yeah, we got a special guest, everybody, tonight for you. His name is Daniel Villanueva. He is the pre-construction manager over at Moss Utilities in Dallas, Texas. Welcome to the show, Daniel.
Thank you. Appreciate the invite.
No, I appreciate you coming on, man. And such short notice. We keep having this problem where everybody says they're going to come, and then the last second they're like, "Oh, dude, I can't come." So Daniel was a trooper for me. I reached out. Would I reach out to you like Tuesday?
Yeah.
Or Wednesday?
Monday. Yeah, somewhere around there.
He's like, "Bro, I'll be there." And so he was a trooper and came on the show to help us out tonight.
here we are. Awesome.
So
Glad to be here.
real quick, I just want to get some housekeeping done real quick, Daniel, and then we'll get started on your story, sir. I just want to say thanks, everyone, for all the support. We finally hit a milestone. We had 1,000 downloads in a week on our last 2 episodes, so that is awesome. Thank you, everybody. Also want to give a shout-out to the Certified Wrench and Dirty and Driven for all the support they've been giving us. Also, shout-out to Devin over there at Ruben for helping out with everything and sharing the crap out of the show for us.
Do what I can. Show up.
Yeah.
Bless you with my presence.
Bless you. Been an amazing co-host and friend. But I just want to say thank you guys for all the support on that. And also, we've been getting a ton of emails when we said we were going to give out those hourly rates sheets. So I had about 7 or 8 guys reach out, so I sent it over to them. Didn't reveal any trade secrets, but just, utilization rates and stuff. So I sent that to them. So if anybody else wants it, guys, like I said on the last episode, just email me. It's ongrade88@gmail.com. So, all right, let's get to it, though. So, Daniel, I know you've been in the industry for a long time now. Give us a little bit of a background about you, sir.
Straight out the womb, man. My dad was doing rebar work when my mom was pregnant. So I was literally born into the construction industry. Watched my dad build houses over the years. In the 90s, he started and ran a small foundation repair business. So I got introduced to concrete and dirt, manual labor type stuff, and then worked as a carpenter for a couple of big companies around the Metroplex, and got tired of construction, took a small break, and realized that construction was really my passion, and worked my way back into it. My brother was probably the one that brought me my lucky opportunity where he was working as a grease monkey for a utility company in the Metroplex that's no longer in business, and he mentioned that they were looking for an estimator. So with whatever little knowledge I had at the time and a lot of will, I took a week off from my the job that I had at the time and went and interviewed. And my interview was running a takeoff and putting a utility takeoff together, and then 1,000 phone calls later, and got an opportunity to join the team as an estimator, as a very young and green estimator, and now here I am 16 years later. So blessed to be in the industry and thankful to be in the industry.
So you learned from a fire hose right off the hop.
Right off the top, man. I had very little knowledge about utilities. I had the privilege to have a very smart and great mentor to kind of took me, a civil engineer that took me under his wing when I was in middle school, high school. But and we popped the manhole open and saw how shit flew, literally, how shit drained down the line, and then just kind of instigated a little passion in me for utilities. And then when Blue Ridge gave me the opportunity to come join them as an estimator, man, I took it with open arms, and I really gave it my everything. So it was a great opportunity at the time, and now again here I am 16 years later. So yeah, man, it was a blessing.
That's awesome, man. That's really cool. You don't hear that. Well, I guess Ryan was kind of the same thing too. Just kind of
Yeah, he-
fell into it, but
Yep.
especially utility, that's one thing that you don't really get a lot of experience in until you're into it, really.
Yeah, yeah. Again, I had to call 100 times and maybe 1,000 times, but finally, cracked the door open, and I'm glad I persisted, and I was given that opportunity, man. Very thankful.
It's
That's
one of the it's the unsung heroes of our industry. I mean, they're the guys that get the work.
Oh, God.
I mean, without an estimator, construction companies wouldn't exist. I mean, really, you got to bid work, and if you don't have an estimator, you ain't getting no work.
Yeah, yeah. We're somewhere between a glorified salesman and underappreciated engineer. Again, I'm a college dropout, so originally I got a little bit of college in early 2000s and took a break, never went back, and got the opportunity to join the construction industry, the heavy civil industry, and it was it's been great. Like I said, we are we have to play different hats, so we have to know what we're dealing with on the construction side, and also have enough skills to sell our work. So.
Well, the thing you got to quantify what it is that you're bidding, because when you're estimating, you're really estimating the cost of the job, but the cost can vary based on how you're going to do the job. So really, in essence, as an estimator, you're really planning the job out before you're even doing it to be able to put a cost to it.
Yeah,
and that takes a lot of skill and a lot of knowledge to be able to do that.
It takes a lot of experience, man. We all got to start somewhere, and hopefully learn quick along the way, because as a business owner that you can only take so many hiccups and so many boo-boos before you start hurting really, really bad. So minimizing those boo-boos, emphasizing and minimizing those boo-boos definitely helps the owners keep on going. So
when you started out, was it all like, obviously now you're using software and stuff automated for estimating? When you started, was it in software right off the hop, or old school?
Old
pen and
school way,
paper?
baby. I had an HP plotter, and man, we printed every hand takeoffs all the way.
Yeah.
Honestly, it
Scale
wasn't
and everything by hand.
Yeah. So back around 2000, right after the recession, 2008, Blue Ridge shut down around 2010. I went to work for a flooring company for a couple of years, and I actually helped them implement on-screen takeoffs. So we moved away from paper takeoffs to on-screen, and that was my first true experience with on-screen takeoffs. I then went back to the utility world, missed it too much, miss playing in the dirt too much. So we got back. I got back into utilities, and I came across PlanSwift, and I've been using PlanSwift on and off for the last 10, 12 years. So yeah.
Nice.
Can you go into a little detail for some of the listeners about PlanSwift? Because a lot of the guys that listen to our show, which I'm sure you're figuring out, they're the up and coming guys. They're not quite established yet. They're in their infancy period. So a lot of guys ask us all the time about softwares.
All right. So there's different on-screen takeoff softwares out there, right? There's different on-screen takeoffs that, depending on your needs, are good for you. PlanSwift has been around for a long while. There's Bluebeam out there. Play with both of them. There's the original, the OGs, the OST.
OST, yeah. Bringing back some memories there.
Yeah, so then I Square Foot came up with their own version of OST. It's a tool.
Yep.
Just like AcTech. And PlanSwift has the ability to actually populate an entire bid if that's what you wanted to do. Right now, we're only using it for our takeoffs. And it's great for takeoffs. You can do, you import your drawings, set up your assemblies, preset up your assemblies or build them as you go. And it's really easy to use. It's a Windows-based product type deal. So it's really easy to learn and maneuver. I've taken several estimators brand new that came from paper takeoffs to on-screen takeoffs, and within 30 minutes they're able to navigate their way through PlanSwift.
So really intuitive.
It is. It's very user friendly. Just it has its pros and cons depending on what you want it to do. There's better programs and there are worse programs out there. It just depends what you want to do with that software. Bluebeam is great. We're actually worked with Bluebeam since like 2016, I believe. And it's great as well. It does takeoffs, it does document management, it does comparisons, it does all kinds of good stuff. So it just depends on what you're trying to do. Whatever you want the software to do for you. Again, it's just a tool.
Yeah, you got to be able to use it. At the end of the day, it's a tool. So I've messed with Bluebeam. I still use Bluebeam quite a bit for just when I want to do like quick distances and stuff. It's easy to pull up and just point.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Measurements. I like that for that. It's just simple, but I haven't gone too in depth in Bluebeam. I find I get pretty confused and lost when I try to do anything much more than that.
It's a great tool as well. It's another great tool out there. So,
oh, that's awesome.
When we're doing moisture conditioning, that's actually when we use it the most because a lot of times the GCs want to know, as you would know, that they want to know how much of the pad you have done is available so they can get the peer rate called out or whatever. So what we do is a lot of times when we turn in our billing, we'll actually turn them in a Bluebeam drawing that's marked up showing, okay, this is the slots we have done. This is the slots that have select on them. So you have this much square footage available to, get the rig out to start drilling piers on and setting your corners. Because you know how it is on a lot of these huge pads. You can't wait to hand it all over to the concrete guy. So on that end, it's great for us. I can see the visibility, especially in utilities. Y'all can trace your lines out and be like, hey, I've got all my sanitary done up to this point. I've got, all this done to here. And that way the GC's kind of knowing exactly where they're at on the job. It is a great tool for that when you're wanting to, especially when you're trying to prove a point too. When they're like, you ain't got that much done. It's like, well, actually, this is where we're at right now.
Yeah, it's great for a quick count. I haven't used so I've used it more for document management and comparisons.
Yeah.
A quick overlay. It has a great takeoff portions to it that I haven't used as much as I've used PlanSwift. But yeah, it's great. I like it. It's got a bunch of pretty neat. It's got a bunch of AI built into it nowadays. I want to say they moved to a new model. Before you bought a license, you bought a key, and it was yours for life. So if you have one of those old school licenses, man, it's yours.
Yeah,
they've now moved to a
subscription
based deal. So
yeah, that's the scary thing about some of them. Like I'm glad I'm kind of grandfather on a couple of softwares because I've been hearing about that now they're trying to charge you per user and it's per month now instead of.
Well, it's reoccurring revenue. It's smart business, but it sucks as the user.
Yeah. Well, again, not to talk down on PlanSwift, but PlanSwift is the same way. You buy the original key, is yours, but then you have to buy a yearly maintenance fee. So every year an annual maintenance fee. So you have to pay the $500, $700 annual fee, and so again, it's just a tool, and it depends. It depends. It's up to you what you want to do with that tool and its capabilities. So
no, that's awesome. What do you still find yourself going back to paper takeoffs at all, or is everything digital for you?
We are doing 99.9 digital. Yeah. The only time we do, here you go. You'll probably appreciate this. One of the few times where we actually use paper is when I tell my guys to, all right, bring me print out your board log and let me see where the rock is at, so we can build up our rock excavation equipment or crews. So all of our takeoffs are done on screen.
Yeah,
and again, primarily on PlanSwift.
Oh, that's awesome. How many guys do you have estimating in the department now?
Oh, we have 6, 7 of us. So
you're churning out a lot of estimates.
It's grown, yeah. So when I came over as a senior, estimator in 2020, and about 2021 or so, I got promoted to. I got the opportunity to be the vice president of our department.
That's awesome.
And so we have watched a couple of our guys grow tremendously over the last 3 years. Man, it's been a pleasure.
That's awesome.
Working with them. They have a lot of heart. They have a lot of will. They're young, motivated. They're I call them my killers, man. They're killers that go out there and we can go toe to toe with whoever you put us up against, just because of the sheer will and energy that they have. So
that's awesome.
It's been a pleasure working with them.
Are you guys using drone software much at all? Are you implementing that at all, or is it not something you guys are doing yet?
No, we're using PlanSwift for our takeoffs, and we're using HeavyBid for to build our bids, our proposals. So,
yeah. Nice. That's cool.
So something I want to talk about, we've actually never talked about. is, and you're the pro at this. We were talking about it the last hour in the kitchen before everybody else showed up. Tell us the best way to start a pre-construction process for a company. Best things you would, if you were going to be doing it yourself, what things you would implement. Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the episode, but I'd like to take a minute of your time to talk to you about today's sponsor. Are you a GIS professional, land surveyor, or construction professional looking for the best in surveying equipment, software, and service? Look no further than AGS Inc. AGS Inc. is an authorized dealer for Topcon and Sokia surveying equipment dealer and EOS aerial mapping products dealer. With a supply store in Grapevine, Texas to serve the DFW Metroplex, Central Texas presence, and a corporate headquarters in Houston, Texas, AGS has you covered. Stop by and experience the AGS Inc. difference today. At AGS, it is a service after the sale that counts. AGS is the proud sponsor of the On Grade podcast. On Grade podcast listeners, give these guys a call if you want to talk about bringing precision surveying, layout, drones, GPS, GIS, or 3D scanning spatial technologies to your company. Thank you, and have a great evening. Back to the episode.
It comes down to having the team that really sees and understands the vision, that really sees what you're trying to build, and that stands behind you 100% of the time. The lack of experience we can overcome. The lack of equipment we can overcome. If I was talking to somebody in the industry and last week, here within the last couple of weeks, and so at Moss we implemented traction. So, we evaluate our people, and every individual that we try to bring on, do they get it? Do they want it? And do they have the capacity to get the job done? This individual that I was having a couple of drinks with, hanging out after work, took it beyond that and simplified it, and it was like, do they give a fuck? Do they care about what they're doing? Because if they care about what they're doing, it's easier for me to teach them and coach them through the process. If they don't care about what they're doing, it doesn't matter how much I coach and how much I try to teach. They're not going to pick up the lesson. So having the right people. Yeah. And it doesn't matter what kind of takeoff software you have, or how much technology you have, or how much money you have. If the people that you have working for you don't care, if they don't get it, if they don't want it, and they don't have the capacity to do it, you're spinning your wheels in the mud, and you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
But if you have those individuals, or as many of those individuals on your team, you're going to go somewhere.
Yeah. I've always done that. I've always said this. Like I don't focus my hiring drive on skills necessarily. It's more so on the person, their mindset, their personality. Are they hungry? Do they want to learn? Because at the end of the day, you can teach people skills a whole lot easier than you can teach them to give a fuck. And that's, if you've got a person that doesn't care, or they don't care about their presentation or themselves, how they carry themselves, that carries over to everything. When someone shows up and they're dressed clean, prim, proper, you can tell they take pride in, their appearance. That's the first step. And then you can look at their vehicle and, what their mannerisms are like and how they talk about their past employers and stuff. You get a really good sense of how that person thinks and how they view the world in a sense. And if you got somebody who really cares about what they do and they take pride in what they do, the skills aren't that important, because you can teach skills very quickly to someone who cares and wants to learn. And that's the biggest key. We have a lot of people in the industry that are just there collecting a paycheck, man.
That's it. They're just making
punching in, punching out, right? And that's I think our biggest downside in the industry is you have a lot of people that it's just, it's a job, and it's got to be more than a job if you really want to push the envelope and really do something big.
So when we first started, I had a different estimator than we have now, and we'd get out on jobs, and every job almost there would be just massive issues with it. We'd miss something or anything like that. And I brought Pete on a couple years ago, and then talking about what you two were just talking about today. Actually, we're sitting outside, and after our operations meeting, all the guys were there, and Robert and Pete are talking to me, and Pete goes, "Man, this bid I'm doing right now, these drawings, they're shit. They're terrible." He's like, "I'm not even going to give this guy a number. I'm not going to waste our time finishing the takeoff with this, because I can't. There's no spot grades, there's no elevations, anything. That's a guy that cares. Because the guy that don't care, he'd go, okay, well, I'll just trace it. I'll figure it out, blah, blah, blah. Draw it in and be completely probably wrong, get you the wrong quantity, bid the job, and then the GC's calling you, oh, man, your bid's perfect. Well, let's give you the job. And then you get out on the job and you're trying to build the model for the job to actually put it in the machines, and your surveyor calls you and goes, I can't build a model off these plans, dude. And the next thing you know, you're up, you know what, without a paddle. So,
Yeah.
you know, I mean, I'd rather that's experience though, but that's a guy that gives a shit. And, you know, we bring guys in sometimes to help him out. He weeds them out in a week. He calls me, nah, this guy ain't got it. And, you know, we keep trying to fill the slot, and we'll give a guy a shot. And like you talk about, you know, if they ain't got the drive for it, send them down the road, man. They can go work somewhere huge that, you know, there's 500 of them and nobody notices, you know, whatever. But you know, when you're wanting to build a good culture and build a good company, you need to have guys that want to build it with you, because at the end of the day, it's a team, and it's a big circle, like we were just talking about earlier. It's a circle of life, man.
Yeah.
You got to have a kick-ass estimating team. You got to have a kick-ass pre-construction team, kick-ass project management team, and a kick-ass field team. If you have those 4 things, man, nobody can stop you.
Well, you got to be able to paint the vision too, right? As the owner of the company, running the show, head of the department, you got to paint the vision of where it is you're going, and your guys got to see that, and they got to buy into it.
Exactly. You want to have as many individuals surrounding you that clearly see the vision, clearly understand the vision, so they can, you know, they have to buy into it. Because if they don't buy into it, it doesn't matter how much you care about the mission, or how much time you spend trying to paint the picture. They just don't care. You know, a lot of it has to do with just owning it. You know, I'm pretty sure you read Jocko's Extreme Ownership book too. Where, you know, if your finger, you know, if your fingers are always pointing outwards and not inwards, then I don't want you on my team. I want you to own it. Whether you made the mistake yourself, or it was a shortcoming, or whatever it is, what could you have done better? What can you do better to prevent that from happening again, so that we can keep on painting and building this beautiful vision that we're trying to accomplish?
Yeah, it's not about putting blame. It's more so about accepting responsibility and then finding a way to get around it, do better in the future.
Something,
really what it is.
Something I will say that you and me, I know, definitely have in common, and I know you do too, Daniel. I tell my guys, if I'm wrong, tell me. You know, a lot of guys, they got this pride thing in their head. You know, I'm top dog, man. I can't do no wrong. If I make a mistake, man, I expect my guys to call me out, you know?
Yeah.
And they do. And I tell them, I'm like, speak your mind. Did I do something wrong today? Yeah, you know, we shouldn't have done that, blah, blah, blah. And it makes you a better leader.
Yep.
Leadership. You should ask your guys, how do you think we're moving as a team?
Well, and listen too. When you ask that question, actually listen to the answer. Don't just there's 2 types of listening, and a lot of people just listen to answer a question. So, you know, someone's talking and you're listening to what they're saying, and you're formulating an answer in your brain as to how you're going to respond or rebut what they're telling you. Actively listening to the person and hearing what they're saying, you know, rather than just listening to answer, listen to understand. You know, and that's a big thing that a lot of people fail to do in leadership, and that's something that everybody can work on.
Well, I own it to my guys. So oftentimes we have several different balls floating in the air, and we're juggling all sorts of emails and requests and thousands of different things. When an estimator comes into my office and he's seeking my opinion, I might be in the middle of an email, but I respectfully ask to, like, hey, let me wrap this up. I close every window, you know, that I have open on my computer, and I give them my full attention. Mm-hmm. Because if they took the time to come into my office and ask for my opinion, then it must be something that it really matters to them. Mm-hmm. So I owe them that. And again, it goes back to they want to contribute, they want to add, they care about what they're doing, therefore they're seeking out some guidance. So I owe it to them. Mm-hmm. It's the very least I can do. It's a lot different now that I'm in a leadership role. It's a completely different than just being an estimator, to where I just got to produce 2 to 4 bids a week and hopefully, you know, bring one of those 4 in and my week is done. Now it's more of, well, how can I make this team better? What can I do to help this team, you know, progress and move up? So I owe it to them guys. It's truly a pleasure to work with those guys. Those guys that want to learn. Those guys that care about what they're doing.
Yeah.
I want to go back and touch on something. So Traction, how long ago did you guys implement that? How long have you been doing that?
Oh, I want to say about 2 years ago. And we started about 2 years ago, slowly started implementing it. It's a great book. It's a great program. It's a good EOS. It's simple. It takes some studying, and it takes a lot of effort to implement it, but it really does bring a lot of value. If you follow it, if you listen, if you utilize the tools that are given within it, it has a lot of value.
So anyone that's listening that doesn't know what it is, Traction's a series of books, but basically, well, it's not just a series of books, but the book he's referring to is Traction, and it's basically talking about, it's an employee operating system is what they refer to.
It's an entrepreneur operating system. Yeah.
Yes, so basically, it's a set way to run your business and to manage the people in the business and to grow the business.
Clean, simple process.
Yep.
It's very they really do emphasize, and they really do take the approach to less is more. So let's keep it simple. Let's keep it to a minimum, but maximize those little activities that we do and get the most out of them.
And that's like anyone listening to this, especially guys in the dirt world, we're terrible for this. 99% of us we started in the industry, we had some experience, we're good at doing the job. We're not necessarily great business operators, and that's where EOS comes in. EOS can be used in just about any industry, any business, doesn't matter what it is. It's just a simple, easy to follow way to run your business. And that's what it is. And you're the third company that I've come across down here that's actually running EOS and using Traction. It's something I've been looking into quite a bit. And
I firmly believe in it. It's safe. If you really buy into it, it will do, your business will do great. Some of the most successful businesses out there utilize it. And I can't say enough good things about it.
And even the ones that don't are usually ones that have some type of system they've implemented that works and runs similar to it.
Well, it has many lessons, right? So to touch back into what you were saying just a short while ago, to where as a business owner, we're not great at everything in life. One of the things that Traction points out is that everybody's got a unique ability. Once you identify your unique ability, then you can live a happier life because you focus on what you're really capable, what you're really good at doing. And then you start bringing people in to help you out on those things that you're not great at.
Fill in the gaps.
Exactly, to fill in the gaps. So it's a great book, man. I can't speak, I can't say enough good things about it. I can't speak, highly enough about it. I did 75 hard last year.
Nice.
And as part of my reading material, I read the book 7 times. In 75 days. So it's a great book. I firmly believe in it. So
that's awesome. This is your first time doing 75 hard, or?
First time, and I completed it all
that's
75,
awesome,
75
Good for
days.
you.
So I put on about 15 of those pounds that I lost, but man, it was great. It showed me I learned a lot.
You gonna run phase 1, 2, 3?
So at the beginning, right around February, March of this year, I started up again. I made it to about day 20th, and then I quit, but not because I failed willingly. We had something come up, and I could have. I'm gonna own it. It was all me. We had to do a little windshield time, and
Little bitch voice came up, and
yeah. So I took the little bitch way out of it. I'm gonna do it again though.
Nice.
I love doing it the first time. I learned a whole bunch from it. I actually took a bunch of lessons, and on the second round this year, I was actually going above and beyond my activities.
Yeah.
So I was knocking up all the tasks with plenty of time left in the day, again, I learned a whole bunch from it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing it again.
That's awesome. Anyone else that doesn't know, 75 Hard, Andy Frisella, look him up. He's on Instagram. He's got a podcast called the MFCO Project. I think actually it's Real AF now, but he's what got me into business years ago. The original MFCO Project. I started listening to that back when I was running Crane, and that's kind of what got my mind thinking in the right way and got me into this. But awesome dude, tons of great knowledge.
Yep.
75 Hard's a great program, and if you haven't done it or you want to do it, look into it. It's a ton of value.
Oh yeah,
Probably the best thing you ever do.
it is. It's
So
one of
real
the best
qu-
things.
Not trying to interrupt either one of you because you guys got a awesome thing you're talking about. I am going to put links at the bottom on the YouTube video and on the Spotify for the traction book and for the 75 hard. So we just got to get the RSS feed, I guess, for their podcast. And
Yeah, I'll
put
get you
that in there.
stuff.
And if you guys, any of the people listening, are really looking into reading traction, there's another book called Get a Grip. It's a fictional version of traction. It presents a fictional scenario, and it's a really great read prior to traction. That way you kind of understand what traction is about. The book Traction itself is great. It's 270 pages, maybe somewhere around there at the most. So it's really easy reading. Gino does a great job at putting out the facts. So.
And you guys got to remember, too, especially a lot of us that are smaller contractors, we're in the truck all day. The perfect time to listen to a book
Oh yeah.
is in the truck when you're driving. So I know for a fact Traction's on audiobook because I listen to it on audiobook when I listen to it. So
Yeah, no, it's there.
I haven't gotten to implement it yet. I started listening to it when you got me onto it. What was it, like almost a year ago? You started talking about that with me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get into it. I just haven't implemented it yet at the office. I got to get all the guys to listen to it and read it. So
So one of the things that I highly recommend is that you not fully understand, but that you understand the vast majority of what Gino's trying to accomplish with that on that book, and because it'll help you paint the picture of what you're trying to accomplish.
I'm also gonna go real old school right now. Everybody in this room knows this one, but some people might not. Another book you need to check out: Sun Tzu, The Art of War.
Oh yeah.
That is one of the best books for anything almost in life.
I actually just started reading that again
Whether
last
it's
week.
combat, whether it's being a badass mechanic, whether it's being a badass operator, whether it's being a badass pipe fitter, estimator, project manager, construction owner, truck driver, whatever it is, dude, that book applies to life in so many different ways. Sun Tzu, The Art of War. You cannot go wrong with that book.
There's a couple books that everybody in the world should read, but you got the Sun Tzu, The Art of War, As a Man Thinketh, Traction. If you're a business owner, definitely needs to be on that list.
Oh yeah.
How to Win Over Friends and Influence People. Like that's your foundation to life, basically. You read those and you're going to go places.
Man, we're living in a great time where we have access to so much information and so much knowledge. It's really it's amazing that we can old school way still pick up a book and read it, and like you said, we're in our vehicles at the very. I mean, myself, I drive to the office 90% of the time or better, and just hour drive there and hour drive home. So that's 2 hours that I can.
You can crush a book in a week, no problem.
Exactly. And then I'm a little. I'm not as young as I used to be, so it takes me a little bit longer to learn new things. So actually reading the book, listening to the book, and writing some notes down is probably the best way for things to stick around. But yeah, I mean, you touched on some of the great books out there. There's a whole bunch of great books out there that'll help you expand your knowledge and your base. So yeah.
No, it's definitely, and that's everyone in this space really can do nothing but learn value from reading the books, listening to books, podcast. It's how you learn knowledge. At the end of the day, you're doing a job that you probably know really well day in, day out. You're working with the same people day in, day out that know the same things. Where are you actually learning new things from? And that's what books and podcasts and audiobooks give you. You have the ability to just pull it up on your phone and listen to it.
Yeah.
You're in a machine all day. You're in a truck all day. Why aren't you educating yourself rather than just jamming out the satellite radio? And
Exactly. Same song over and your
exactly.
favorite cumbia or norteño or country song, over and over again. Come on. Listen to something out there.
you can only hear about your dog running away and your truck dying and your girlfriend leaving you so many times, right?
I've gotten to the point now I don't even listen to music, so it's funny when I get in the truck because she'll have the country station on and the song come on, and I'll go, I never heard this song. She goes, the song's been out like 2 months. Well, yeah, I listen to podcasts or I listen to audiobooks. And I realized that's when I became my dad. Because, you know, when we were all growing up, our dads listened to like sports radio or, you know,
talk radio,
like
yeah.
AM channels. And you're like, oh, you're old. You know, that's what, all the old people listen to AM channels. Now we're listening to podcasts. So it's like, oh, you're old. Okay, gotcha.
I mean,
Honestly, you're just smart if you're doing that, guys.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I know COVID was bad for a lot of people out there, and I hope we don't get flagged for me bringing that word up. But personally, it was one of the best things that happened to me. I got into a lot of reading, a lot of podcasts, a lot of self exploration. Like I wanted to grow more and see what I could do to help me be ready, make myself ready for the next episode, and that's how I came across Extreme Ownership, Can't Hurt Me, and a whole bunch of other books that have really opened up my my horizons, the way I look at life. So, yeah.
That's awesome, man.
I've discovered probably since we started podcasting, we've met so many people. I mean, I've learned so much running this show. It's been awesome getting all this free knowledge that I thought I knew. And I learned this a long time ago, but it applies so much to life and also in business. But if you ever stop learning, dude, you're going to die. You're a dinosaur. You got to constantly learn. There's always something new to learn.
The day you stop learning is the day you start dying, man.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
It's you gotta constantly every day. You gotta listen because you learn a heck of a lot more with these open and this closed than you do with this thing open and those closed. And you were kind of saying that earlier, but I want the OG way of saying it. So, what would you say is a good candidate for a good project manager / estimator? What do you look for in a guy when you're hiring one?
Touching back on what we said before, you have to care about what we can overcome and experience. One of the things I do with our team is we have this bid review process. 9 out of 10 bids that go out the door get reviewed in my office. We review them as a team. The lead estimator. So the way we're set up is I'm the vice president. I have two lead estimators that help me run the rest of the guys. We have a couple of estimators that all they do, their primary task is to run takeoffs. Then one of our lead estimators will take those takeoffs and build upon them and put together a complete bid. Once they've assembled the bid, they'll bring it into my office. We'll review it together, and I'll give them some pointers, some notes. They'll go back, make those changes, and send it out the door. When I first came over, we were lacking leadership in our department. When I came over, I had zero intentions of being the vice president of pre-construction. It just happened. I was assigned a young estimator as an assistant, but I'd rather, again, it sounds kind of brute, but I'd rather have a bunch of killers around me, a bunch of badasses around me than people helping me out. So I, one of the first things I told my young estimator was like, don't waste my time. I'm going to pour whatever little knowledge I have into our operation and, hopefully help you grow. If you care about what you're doing, you're going to do a good job. Every lesson that I point out, every little boo-boo that I point out, more than likely I've made that boo-boo in the past and I've cost other companies money. So if I see something if I see that they're doing something wrong, I'll point it out and I'll put a dollar figure to it. Oh, we forgot to put in a gate valve. All right, that's going to cost you $4,500. Oh, you forgot to do this pavement removal and replacement. It's going to cost you $25, $30 a square foot. It goes back to trying to paint the picture. If, as an estimator, I find it easier to train an estimator if they're willing to learn and have a good attitude. I will pour every little bit of knowledge that I have about our industry into those guys. so that later on down the road, if they choose to, they can easily move over to the project management side. The project management side, you have to have experience. You have to know what you're dealing with. If you don't understand what you're doing, it's going to be hard for you to run a job efficiently. If we're not efficient, we're not making money. You know, it's not about productivity. It's not about safety. It's not just about productivity, not just about safety, not just about going out there digging fast. It's about being efficient. It's about sending every one of our guys back home better than they were when they first came in.
Doing it once, doing it right.
Exactly.
Slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
Exactly. So Mark Divine, right? So it's you have to gain the experience. You have to put in the hours. You have to eat those bad sandwiches that we were talking about prior to the podcast, and doing those things that we were talking about prior to the podcast. You really have to learn those lessons. So experience, you know, someone here recently was telling me that, you know, experience is best lived. You know, you have to go through those life experiences and make those mistakes in order for you to really, really learn. Or you can watch somebody make those mistakes and say, hey, shit, I don't want to make those mistakes because, you know, I'm going to get my hand slapped. So
The best way to learn a lesson is to learn it from somebody else.
yeah.
The most memorable way to learn it is to do it yourself, though. And that's generally the way it goes.
Yeah. So as an estimator, we have, under good guidance and good leadership, I'm able to train an estimator a bit easier than it is on the project management side. On the project management side, personally, I expect you to know what you're looking at and know and realize that your job is to manage the job and maximize whatever the estimators put on the table. So again, I call my guys a bunch of killers, a bunch of, you know, we go out there and do all the hunting. We bring the you know, we harvest the meat, bring it to the table. And what is our, you know, what are the rest of our teams going to do to make a delicious, you know, meal out of that plate, out of that kill. So estimating I feel like that's my unique ability. I've been doing it for many years now, professionally as a utility in the utility world. And again, when my dad had that foundation repair business, I was out there selling pier jobs. So I was selling foundation repair jobs. I was
That's a hard business, man.
cubing yards out so we can get the concrete out there, doing a little bit of flat work. So estimating comes a little bit more natural to me than managing. I am a better estimator than I am a project manager, but I've had the pleasure of working in both phases. I've had the pleasure of working on the estimated management and operations side, which is great. Every one of those teams has a lot of things that we can, you know, take joy in. Project management, you have a lot more interaction. You have to deal with the operations. You have to deal with the GC or the developer. On the estimating side, we're trying to compete against, you know, so in some of these deals, we go up against 12 utility contractors. As we work our way up to better partnerships, we narrowed down that competition, right, to where if in the past we were 1 to 12, maybe we're 1 to 3 now. And, so I love both, man. Like I said, I've worked on estimating management and operations. I could wear any of those hats at any time. I prefer to be an estimator on the estimating side. I just love the kill, man. I love the hunt. I love going out there and helping on the, you know, design portion of the project. We've helped several of our clients or partners bring their budgets down, where we start at $10 million for our scope of work, and we cut that down to $5 million by the time we actually go and build a project. So they all have their pros and cons. Overall, I just love being in construction. It brings up, gives me a lot of pleasure.
It highlights a good point too, because a lot of people think of estimating as like the boring job in the office staring at the screen. But the reality is when you're a good estimator, when you're good at it, that's really where the creativity is in the business. Because at the end of the day, you're bidding the job on how you're going to do it and being creative with how you're going to accomplish that job and how you're going to move that dirt and put that pipe in. And like you said, you can literally look at it and saving money. This job we're starting up next week, I did the exact same thing. Shaved almost $400,000 off the job just by changing how we were going to do it. You know, and some people look at that and it's like, man, you left $400,000 on the table. Well, at the end of the day, I just saved that client $400,000. We were a higher bid than a lot of other people, but we saved them a lot of money in a certain area of that scope. You built trust with that customer right off the hop because you went there, and we could have just went and done it how they said to do it. And instead you save them money and show them another way. You've now built trust with that customer. You're starting to build a good relationship with that customer. And when the next job comes up and the next one and the next one, you're going to be calling you to look at this and say, hey, what can we do here? How can we do this? And that's what the business is. It's relationship based.
Exactly, man. I got into the utility world back in 2007, right before the recession in 2008. And building those relationships and partnerships really will do a lot of good. The utility company that I worked for at the time is no longer in business, but I still have long-standing relationships from there, man. Some of my best friends in the industry are still out there, you know, as leaders. They're leading the operations departments, the management departments, and it's very enjoyable. But building those relationships up and down the chain of command will help you be successful. Right now, we're living in, construction. There's abundant, work out there. There's plenty of work out there for everybody to make a living and a decent living, and put a meal on the table for the family and take care of the family. But in 2008, there were, excuse my language, but there were a shit ton of us out there, just begging for a job. That's how I went from working, as an estimator on the utility side to an estimator on the flooring side. They were the only people that were looking for an estimator, and it was really a blessing from above that I came across this company, and they wanted a new construction estimator that was just bidding, floors, carpet, vinyl, ceramics, and whatnot. And again, I took whatever little skills I had and I applied it to that trade, and I enjoyed it while it lasted. But man, I just feel that I like playing out here on the dirt, man. I just like to, dig in trenches and laying pipe and, getting dirty. So,
amen. I hear that. I will say it's a different kind of guy. I think there's I call them Mustangs, the guys that can do both. They're really good estimators, but they're also awesome project managers. It's a rare guy you can find that can do both. That's just, he's got the instinct to do both. He can be the killer as an estimator, but also be the killer when he needs to be as a project manager. Yeah. Because unfortunately, as a project manager, most of the time you are the face of the company. You're the head guy on that job site with the superintendent. So
you're the kicking horse.
Yeah, all they're seeing is the guy running the job and the guy running the money, and that's the two guys they see. So a lot of times, especially as a PM, you need to have that estimating experience, though, because you have to know what stuff costs in order to effectively run that job, to keep that superintendent on budget, keep that superintendent hitting his cliff notes that you're setting for him to hit. And so it's a very difficult job. I will say, as have done pretty much most of them now, the hardest job for me is being a PM, because you're always the guy usually with bad news about, so what you want me to do, unfortunately, that was not bid in the job. It's not in the contract. And then you got to have that conversation a lot of times. So it's always, you got to have people skills as a project manager to, I don't know how to explain it. You got to be polite. You got to be professional.
Firm, but nice.
Yeah. You got to be polite, be professional, but you got to have a plan to, like we just talked about, be a killer. So it's just how it is. My PM that I have, phenomenal guy. And, today we're sitting there and he goes, we're having a disagreement about a erosion control thing and something else, and it's not in our scope. We always bid just to install, and usually landscaper takes it out. Well, they want us to take their rock entrance out. I'm like, no problem, we'll do that. So we gave them a price to do it. They're like, oh, well, you just should do it. It's not in the scope. And here's the price. Well, I don't understand. You still got to put a turn lane right there. Okay, doesn't matter. We didn't bid to do that, so you have to pay us to remove that. And the only reason we're even making a fuss about it is we just were out there a month ago, blue top in the job, And they could have asked us to do it then, and I wouldn't have even brought anything up about it, just would have done it, put it on a truck, and this would have been the end of it. We've been off the job a month. So now I'm having to sit here and argue with this guy for nothing. You guys know this is over. This is crumbs, man, just to cover our costs. And they're fighting us tooth and nail about it. And then we go, when we were out there before, they had a design change, give us a change order all day, like it's no big deal, but just to remove a rock entrance. I don't know. I'm just. That's why I love estimating. To both of you, that's the part of the job that I'm not going to miss having to deal with anymore. It's nice knowing I have a guy now that I can go, oh, have fun with that. I got you. Whatever you need, I got your bag. But
effective communication, man. A very wise man in the industry once told me that the hardest thing that we do, not only at work but in life, is communicating.
Yep.
Clear, precise communication. So if we can communicate from the get-go, like, hey, we're gonna install it, but somebody else got to haul it off, then we have no room for argument. And if we can communicate like, hey, man, I'll do it, but just help me cover the cost. Yeah, we'll get it done. It's communication is probably the hardest things that we do. It is the hardest thing that we do every freaking day, man. It's just getting,
And the worst part was it was communicated, and then I had to send the screenshot of that email showing that, hey, we're going to install this, but you need to get somebody else out here to take care of this. If not, this is the price to do it. We've honored the price. It's been over a year. Stuff's gone up. I know everybody in the room knows that. I'm still honoring the price from a year ago. And they got, oh, I'm not paying. Well, all right, man. I'm not going to do it. So there you go.
Yeah.
Takes all kinds.
It's just, but I noticed it's getting worse. Like we were just talking about before, especially with the economy, everybody's tightening the belt a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
They're getting real nicky-picky about stuff now. They used to throw you a little extra money for something. Now they're wanting to fight you about it.
Well, that's where the relationships come into place, right? Having great relationships up and down the chain. It's, communicating well with the partnership that you have and them understanding that you have operating costs and you have payroll you have to meet. Then your suppliers or your subs, you have trucking subs or whatever subs you have, understanding too how, every once in a while we all have to pitch in as a team and add and contribute to that project. We may not make $100 on that project, we might make 99, but on the next project, more than likely, everybody will remember the effort that was put into that project to complete that project. And hopefully, he helps bring on more businesses and, keep the doors open when things get tight, man. Because, again, as a young estimator, I started as an estimator in 2007, July 2007. And shortly thereafter, I watched the world collapse. I literally watched every one of my coworkers, walk out the door, get laid off and walk out the door. It was painful. So that's one of the things that drives me. I don't want to witness that again too, where I've learned my lessons and I really try to I share those lessons as best I can with the rest of my team, and one thing that I always emphasize on, like, look, we have to perform across every branch. Every team in our company has to perform in order for us to keep going, but it starts here. If we can't make that kill, if we can't bring on a good, healthy project, we're gonna put that project manager in hot water as soon as we get a contract, and then operations is gonna be in hot water, and then by the time we go punch it out, we're gonna be in hot water. So why don't we do our best, put forward our best effort and really, do our jobs as estimators and, make a buck. We don't have to go out there and make $1 million time and time again. We have, hopefully our partners understand that we have to make a living, and hopefully we have a whole bunch of good partners out there.
Everyone's got to make a fair profit. At the end of the day, a partnership only works if it's a two-way street.
Exactly.
When you're negotiating with somebody, if you're trying to get everything on that negotiation on your side, and the other person is just losing everything, they're going to leave that with a sour taste in their mouth. And nobody really wins in that. You might win that one job and that one negotiation, but they're not going to want to work with you again in the future. And that's where it really comes down to both parties got to walk away winning. They both got to walk away with something.
Not every situation is a win-win situation, but we can definitely aim to have as many of those, to where the
It's balanced.
balanced outcomes. If you like my services, help me keep the doors open.
Yep.
I got a question for you. What's something you guys have implemented over there so you guys ain't having to come back to the job 6 times?
So one of the things that we've done, especially with haul off, is on some of these major subdivisions or single-family rentals, is flying the drone. So as soon as the dirt guy leaves, fly the drone, find out where everybody, but where the cuts were at, and after we finish installing the utilities, same deal, and kind of present out those models and be like, all right, here's the job site as we took it, here's the job site as we're leaving it. Quality control, we built up our superintendent team, so we have more generals. We try to minimize the amount of crews per general superintendent so they can really pay attention to what's going on. When I came over, we started doing handoff meetings between pre-construction and project management. Now, for the last couple of years, project management has been doing the same deal where they do thorough and comprehensive handoff meetings from project management to operations. We have monthly WIT meetings to where the project managers get to go in front of the big man and answer what's going on with the projects. We're continuously growing. Either help our people grow or bringing on higher quality people to help us throughout the project. Again, when I first came over, we're doing about 60% more volume now than we were when I first came over. Mm-hmm. And I've watched our project managers grow. I've watched our estimators grow, and implementing all those little lessons from some of the mistakes that we made over the years is actually helping us stay away from having to relay that pipe. That when you got to go back out on the utility world, you got to go back out there and dig that trench when when the paving's on top of you already. It's going to cost you 4 times, 5 times as much to go back out there and rework that sewer line or that water line. So quality control. We've also we've grown our safety department. Now we have 2 in-house safety coordinators and a third party that goes out there and visits our job sites on a weekly basis. The project management team is working on implementing new software to help them manage the jobs as well. We implemented Traction to help us grow the business in a healthy way. As part of Traction, we meet every week. So the executive teams meet every Thursday, 10:30. We have 90 minutes worth of meetings. We review our scorecard. So our scorecard has about 12 key numbers, the key indicators that we follow to kind of follow trends to see where we're at. I report 2 numbers on that scorecard. Project management reports some numbers. Finance department reports other numbers, and we review them every week and kind of see where we're at.
But it gets everybody on the same page. Exactly. Everyone knows where the company stands, where you're at, what your target needs to be, how much you got to improve in different areas. You're tracking numbers. Exactly. When you track data, you can make improvements. You can fix it.
Exactly. So we set a goal. We have a 1, 3, and 10-year goal that we track, and those measurables kind of show us and tell us where we're at. So
that's awesome. How big is Moss? How many guys you got at Moss?
Right now, we're north of right around 307, 310 employees, so about 1,200 souls that we're responsible for.
And you guys fired up 2016, was it?
Yes, right around there. Nice. Garrett started right around that time, and again, I came over in June of 2020.
Nice, that's awesome. That's a lot of growth in a short period.
It is, man. I've seen about 60% growth or more. Yeah,
that's crazy.
So we went from about 160, 180 employees to where we're at now. So yeah.
So how long have you guys been doing Traction? What was the
roughly 2 years?
How much growth would you figure you guys have seen in that 2-year period?
A whole bunch.
Yeah.
So we were over at Rock Island in Irvine up until April, May of last year. We moved to the new building. April, estimators prematurely moved to the into the building. We got our asses chewed by an individual. The big guy gave us a green light, but somebody chewed our ass for moving in too quick. But I had 2 estimators out in the hallway, 2 estimators doubled up in one office. I had my own office, but a few people had to share offices. So about we moved in April of 2020 last year, 2022.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's an awesome setup, man. I got to go over there a couple times now, and
I was supposed to go over and meet Brian for lunch. I haven't made it there yet.
it's an awesome place, man. You got to go check it out. They really take care of their guys.
Yeah, it's a good layout, man.
It gets me motivated when I go over there. I'm like, 10-year plan.
It's a good place, man. It's a good place. The area where we're at is getting redeveloped, so we're seeing a bunch of new construction across the highway. We're right off of 35 in Walnut Hill. For those people there here in the Dallas area, y'all know what I'm talking about. But it's wonderful. There's lots of good taco places around there. We're conveniently located, so we can drive to Las Colinas. We can go to Frisco within 15, 30 minutes. So it's been great, man. Like I said, I've watched this company grow over the last 3 years, and it's been a pleasure.
So what's your goals? What's your 10-year plan? Where do you see yourself?
Personally, continued growth every day. One of our core values at Moss is to continue growth. I turned 41 this year, hit the big 40 last year, and so that's how I kickstarted my 40s with 75 hard.
Nice,
I turned 40 in February, and then shortly after that, turned 40. 2 days after that, 2 to 4 days after that, I started 75 hard on a Monday. I learned a whole bunch, and then I'm slowly implementing those lessons learned and adding more. I have a teenage daughter that's a sophomore now here at Saxe High School, so I'm reworking my 10-year goal.
Nice.
One thing that's clearly out there is continued growth. I'm blessed to be where I'm at. I'm really happy with how life is playing out. Working on a 10-year goal.
I like it.
So
that's cool. What tips or tricks or pointers would you give to guys that are looking to get into estimating? If they're thinking about it or not even thinking about it yet, what would you
kind of
highlight?
What Brandon said. You have 2 ears, so you have to listen twice as much. If you have an experienced estimator or individual that's willing to share their lessons with you, listen to what they got to say. We don't know everything out there. And I always tell my guys, whatever little I know about our industry is just a small decimal of what's out there. I've had the opportunity to work on the excavating. I've done excavation, paving, and utilities all at once, and I had to play every freaking role on it, and it was a pleasure, man. I learned so much. So if you're willing to learn, just know that you're gonna have to eat some bad sandwiches along the way. You have to get your scrapes, you have to get your scratches in, but. Our industry is very rewarding. I love, especially on the excavation part. You guys come in, and more often than not, you guys take a piece of land that's full of vegetation, trees, creeks running through it, scrape the hell out of it, make a big mess, a big stockpile that nobody knows what the heck that dirt's doing over there in that corner, right? But we know. And then you guys cut everything to grade. You give us a plus or minus 10, not blue top, but plus or minus a 10 rough grade. We come in. You guys leave. Excavation guys leave us a nice, pretty job site. We come in and turn it into a complete freaking mess when we come in lay pipe.
Looks like Flanders Field in freaking France.
And then we try to just fuck it all up. and then we do our best to put it back to grade, right?
There's two of y'all in town that do that. Let's clarify that. I think it's y'all and
Don't
North
look at me.
Texas Underground. I can shout out to them because I do a lot of work with those guys. I've done a couple with y'all. Y'all great at least too.
Yeah. So, we try to put the site. Well, we do our best to put the site back to the conditions where we how we found it, and then here comes the paving guy, and then here comes a structural guy, and then 12 to 18 months later, we see this beautiful structure sticking out of the ground, or maybe 3 years on these high-rise buildings, right? But the blessing that we have to take a bare piece of land and build something, beautiful on it, or something functional that adds to our community. We're building schools. We're building, the commercial retail stuff. We've got to, we need that stuff out there. But building those hospitals, those schools, it's a pleasure, man. It's great.
You're adding value.
Oftentimes, I'm driving around. I'm like, oh, I worked on that deal as a project manager. I was a concrete, guy doing that thing, and I worked as a carpenter. I worked as a carpenter on that hospital, or
Every blue collar guy driving around town.
exactly, man. So it's very joyful, man. I really take a lot. I get a lot of joy out of our industry and then out of my job, my career.
It's awesome, man.
So the love of my life cracks me up because she's in here with us right now, but she'll call me. She goes, "I'm at your Whataburger right now. I'm driving on your smooth pavement that you got out here because I know you graded this. Everything else is bumpy around here, but this parking lot's pretty smooth."
Yeah,
Yeah, because that's Iron Eagle did that.
I don't see any puddles here. Yeah, we're good.
yeah, we're good.
We know how to grade.
So
Yeah,
The one puddle's from the utility contractor. He fucked up when he packed his trench.
fucking asshole. Don't know how to backfill shit. You ever heard of a vibratory roller, bro? Jesus. I will say, man, the one thing I notice is something that I've, talking about dirt and pipe. Pipe guys can seem to venture into excavation because they can get some excavation guys to come over there and help them and kick ass at it. Dirt guys cannot cross that road and go into pipe, and I've never been able to understand it. I'm a prime example of it. I tried to dabble in pipe a little bit, and I just don't have the experience in it, man. Like I can look at a storm at a set of utility plans and know exactly what needs to go, where it needs to go, and flow and all that. But it's learning embedment costs, linear foot, all that, and so there's a lot more goes into it than a dirt job. Yes, we have suppliers too, but we don't have the level of suppliers you guys are dealing with. And then you always get that one-off job you got to have some off-the-wall part for that they just don't have in stock. So you got to wait for it to get custom made, and it's 6 weeks back order, and you got to time it right. So when you're out there, the material drops, and there's a lot more to it than on the dirt side. I will say that.
So on the excavation part, we have, I'm going to say we because I was briefly on the excavation scope as well. We have the geotechnical report. That's our Bible, right? It dictates everything. On the utility side, we have the geotech report that we have to deal with, so we can set our site conditions in our productions at.
Yep.
We also have the municipalities to deal with because although we have NCOG, we have the North Texas Central Council of Governments. Every municipality around us does whatever they want with their development.
That's their own rules.
All right. Every municipality has their own sets of specs that we have to go by. It matters a lot knowing what that city requires in particular for a domestic service. The price difference between copper and SDR9 is, a poly is going to be, we can buy a 100-foot roll of poly for $200. We're paying $23, $24 a linear foot on a 2-inch copper roll, right? So knowing and understanding what it takes to get the job done helps a lot.
Yeah.
It's those little details. How does that go? The devil's in the details.
Yep.
It's understanding those details. One of my estimators put it best. It's like, man, what we're doing here is we're taking an open book test. Mm-hmm. And we're going to be some dumbasses if we fail because we have all this shit in front of us. So we just have to be we have to be thorough and know what we're dealing with, and
It's all in the details, man.
it's all in the details.
What, like we talked about on I think it was 2 episodes ago, or was it last episode? We were talking about like cut to fill. Was that last episode?
I don't know. Might have been. Hard to say.
I will say though, it is so much harder in dirt though to make up time. You know, in pipe, you can throw another crew out there, dig some more trench, set the pipe. If you need to throw an extra excavator out there just to speed up the trench. If you're on a cut fill job and it rains for 7 days, doesn't matter how much iron you throw on that job. You got to try to somehow make up 7 days worth of cut to fill.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just Mass X jobs they're a gamble, and the margins are small as it is. So you really gotta go. I mean, that's the problem with dirt. The quality of the work sometimes has to go out the window just to get the production to pay the bills, and that's where guys get themselves in trouble because they're just so worried about how many loads you get today, how many loads you get today, how many loads you get today. They're not worried about, oh, well, did we put it in the right spot to begin with? Did we? You know what I mean? And then you get concrete guy comes out there and goes, yeah, this shit's all a foot high, dude. Like, you know, it's a gamble, man. I mean,
It is.
and the same in pipe. I mean, I know it can be a gamble. You guys can go out there and nail a water line when you're trying to do a tap. I mean, next thing you know, there's some money coming out of the pocket right there.
Oh, we do have, Texas 811, but more often than not, there's going to be a line that's not marked. Or is marked in the wrong side of the road. Or
Well, that line's dead.
Those guys are never wrong.
No, never. So, yeah, no, it just like every part of every team has something to take pride and joy on. There's also risk on every portion of the work that we do, whether it's digging, doing classified excavation, and you come across unmarked utilities, or the guy that's working on the high-rise building, falling off, having a fall or falling off the ladder or whatnot. But I think it's it adds to the joy, right? It adds to like, hey, we accomplished something that was pretty hard to accomplish. We built something that took 2-3 years to build, but look at what's standing now. Look at, Saxe High School has around 3,300 students. Some of the newer high schools up north in Prosper, they're probably housing 5,000 students or more. So it adds joy to it.
Yeah,
It adds joy to the mission.
for sure. It's super cool when you're driving down the highway and you got a buddy in the truck or something to come visit or whatever, and you're like, yeah, I built that. My guys built that. My guys built that. My guys built that. And then something you might have built a few years ago. Oh, I built that one. I ran that job. It's cool. It's humbling. And, you're adding to society.
And then you go, you turn 40 or go beyond 40 and you start driving around and you're like, you know what? Back before we built this school here, there used to be a church, and prior to that, was Stonehenge, whatever.
Yeah.
We dug up dinosaur bones.
Yep.
And
I tell him all the time about Frisco. You and me know that growing up. I remember when Frisco had a blinking red light, and the square was it. That was it. It was all farmland all around it.
Yep.
And now it's some of the most expensive real estate in the state, dude. It's crazy. Nobody wanted to live up there back then, dude.
Yep.
That was all farmers and trailer parks. That's all.
Christ, I got notification today. I got an email from Chamber of Commerce in Princeton. There's 8,400 students going to school in Princeton.
I remember when we built the Walmart. Did you guys do that Walmart with us?
No.
The one in Princeton?
No, I don't. Oh man, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know right off the top. I know we're doing several projects out there in Princeton.
No. This is before Moss for you. Did you do the Walmart up there?
I did not. So when I was working at, I got into the industry at Blue Ridge Construction. That was based out of Blue Ridge, Texas.
Yeah, I know
just
Blue Ridge,
just north of Princeton. I used to go to lunch there in Princeton, and the fancy place that we had was the Catfish Cove. And we would go there about every couple of months. I would go there with my Matt. Matt would take me down there for lunch, and we had Sonic, McDonald's, and I was super freaking excited when they added the Jack in the Box. Man, I was so. My brother and I used to drive down there and then get us a couple of Jumbo Jacks and 4 tacos. But so I took a drive through Princeton not too long ago and was amazed on how much it's grown.
Oh, it's changed.
Yeah,
It's nuts. And it's still growing.
I built the Walmart up there when I was at my old company. I built the Dairy Queen.
Shit, you're practically the mayor.
Yeah. I built something else big out there. We built a couple of the neighborhoods up there.
Yeah.
And it was funny when we were building it because my our vice president of our company was like, "Where the hell y'all working at? Princeton. Where the hell's Princeton?" He had no idea where we were at.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know, because it was such a small town back then. So it was pretty funny. You know, it's it's like where I grew up in Sanger. You know, up until 5-6 years ago, most people in the Metroplex never heard of Sanger. But now they're building so much in Crum and Sanger that
Oh yeah.
it was, oh, you grew up in Sanger? I'm like, yeah, well, Sanger didn't used to have a red light.
Yeah.
They didn't. It didn't. It had stop signs. That's all it had.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember those days. Now here we are, beating the second high school out there.
All the Oklahoma guys used to come down because they got tired of drinking their 3-2 beers, so they drive down to Sanger because Gainesville was dry. So they drive down to Sanger to the gas station, buy beer. Yeah. You always see Okie plates back then, dude. You're like, what are you guys doing? Bomb beer. Got this 3-2 beer in Oklahoma. So, I don't really got much else to. You got anything else you want to talk about, guys? I think we've had a kick-ass show.
Man, I just want to say thank you for inviting me, and
We're definitely having you back on.
anytime.
And
After you do 75 hard again.
yeah, and I got to talk to Garrett about borrowing you on a Friday to come give some motivational speaking classes at the office. I might have to steal you for a day. Be like, I'll borrow your guy.
Anytime, dude. Anytime. You got my number.
Yeah, he might get mad at me, but I'll ask him. I'll ask politely. I'll be like, Garrett, can I borrow him?
just challenge him to a pickleball game, and I'm pretty sure.
I'm trying to get him to come on the show, dude. I've been trying to get him to come on for like 6 months. I'm like, Garrett, come on the show, dude. I got a lot going on, man.
He does, man. He's a busy guy.
Dude,
man.
that dude is slammed. Every time I text him, he's like, hey, I got to hit you back later. I'm like, all right, cool, man. Whatever.
Honestly, it's great. It's great to know that we're probably one of the. He loves selling work, and it's great to know that he's got the confidence on not only myself but the rest of the team to put on the work. So anytime that he's put out a challenge, we more often than not we've crushed that challenge.
That man has got nothing but grit, man. He is the ultimate badass of this business, and nothing but respect for him and the guys he has underneath him. He built a badass team underneath him, and it shows. And I hope one day I can be a 10th of it. You know.
Start reading that book, man.
Yeah, I got some
traction.
I got the guys, man. That's the thing. I finally feel like I got the team in place now that we're really going to go that next level. And I know you feel that way too. We were talking about that the other day. Some of the guys you got now, you're feeling really confident too.
Yeah, hard and fast though. Jesus.
You got it.
4 more guys today.
Bro, that's how you know you're doing it right.
It's 15 guys in 3 months.
Hey, man.
Nice.
He's going to be knocking on the door pretty soon. Anyways, guys, I want to say thanks for listening. Thanks for supporting the show. Like I said, if you guys want that cheat sheet from us again, it's ongrade88@gmail.com. Daniel, you're on LinkedIn, brother. Is there anywhere else anybody wants to look you up? You want to give anything else out? Totally understand if you don't.
That's my professional social media right there,
Yeah.
man. Daniel Villanueva on LinkedIn. Been on there for a few years now. So
If you're friends with me and Devin, you'll be able to find him. He's one of our connections guys. So definitely reach out to him. He posts some awesome stuff on there. Most of the guys from Moss do post some pretty incredible, motivating posts. I won't lie. When I'm having a bad day, I read yours or Garrett's. They usually give me. Real quick though, I just want to say thanks, guys. If you guys could give us our 5 stars on Spotify, please like, share, and subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. We have a merch. We have merch if you guys want to buy a hat or a shirt or whatever. Also, we're working on the round table. We keep saying that every episode. I'm going to actually get on it. Yeah, we'll probably try to have you come do that.
anytime, man.
Yeah, we're wanting to do a few estimating ones, so probably do one about dirt and one about pipe. I really think that would help a lot of these guys.
It's like the number one question we get asked: how to estimate.
Can you
properly
guys
bidding
talk about
jobs.
estimating more? It's like, well, we might need to just get on Zoom and really do it. You know what I mean? So we'll definitely work on that. And then if you could on Apple, please just rate and leave a review. I don't care if it's my breath stinks or, I don't know. You didn't do anything tonight for me to make a joke about.
No, you get creative on there, and
Yeah.
Brandon will give you a nice bow wrapped hat. We'll mail it out to you.
We'll mail it to you. By the way, guys, we do have hats. If you want a hat, hit me up on the IG. By the way, our IG did grow. I think that message finally got out to some people. We gained like 25 followers. We still need more love. Please like our Instagram page. Every other page we were blowing up, but just Instagram. it's like they don't like us. We're not cool. Or something. I don't know.
You guys got to get on that X. Twitter's no longer around, but the new X is out there, man.
Really?
So.
I have to check that out. I've never run Twitter, dude. I had one. I think I set it up, and I never even did anything with it.
It's not as fun anymore without Trump on there.
He's back though.
Is he?
Yeah, ever since Elon took it back.
Well, really?
Hold on. I'm not 100% sure on that. I do know that Elon has likes the rules a little bit more, and he's more open to.
Yeah, I deleted it back when they got real liberal a couple of years ago, and I haven't opened it up again.
You got to get back on there, man. There's a bunch of good stuff on there now. He recently moved away from Twitter, and now it's called just X.
Yeah,
so
That'll be pretty sweet. And then also, guys, we do have a Patreon. If you want to donate to that, we would really appreciate it. Helps with the show. Helps us pay for stuff, pay for our editing, stuff like that. Getting guests on the show from out of state, stuff like that. We are going to have Colton and James Deviney coming in next week. We're going to do a special with them, too. So we're going to have Dirty and Driven and the Certified Wrench here. So that'll be a pretty cool show. We're just going to do the Mafia show we were talking about doing.
Big old gangbang.
The gangbang. So that'll be on Saturday. We're going to barbecue and have some fun with that. So
nice.
Definitely check it out. But that's all I got, man. You got anything else, brother?
That's it, man. Like, share, subscribe. If you got any questions, hit us up. Any of the platforms, leave a comment, whatever. We'll get to it. And thanks for watching.
Yeah. Stay classy, stay humble, and keep that grit up, guys. We'll see you next time.